This week in Washington, President Obama tried to build momentum for his plan by meeting with several mayors, almost 36 mayors from across the country. I'm joined by 3 of them right now. Mayor Shirley Franklin of Atlanta joining us here in our studio. Also, Mayor David Cicilline. Cicilline. It's easier to... They put a pronouncer up there, threw me off. Cicilline, how you doing, sir, from Providence, Rhode Island. And also one more, Akron, Ohio Mayor, Donald Plusquellic, joining us as well. They joked with me that I got 2 good mayors on, and we'll let the viewers decide which 2 of the 3 are the good ones. But welcome to you all. Let me ask about the bill. Madam Mayor, I will ask you first. Do you support a bill more so, or this bill in particular?
Well, there's no question that the president has been working hard to have a bill that's balanced between stimulating the economy and investing in the economy. So what I have seen in the House version is a bill that I think that we need to support. And it seems as if on the Senate side that they've come close to the same decision. So investment in infrastructure, energy, and education. And also looking at the tax benefits that would affect millions of Americans.
And Mayor Cicilline, do you agree with that? And that you know, it's getting better, if you will. But do you have certainly a different perspective than a senator would have, or someone in the House would have, in that you need something and you need it right now? You just want them to get something done.
Well, we want them to do it right, but of course I think all the mayors would say the same thing, that the first priority is to create jobs, to get Americans back to work again, and to stimulate the economy, to make the right investments in infrastructure that not only get people back to work, but lay the foundation for future economic growth. That's what I think the President's plan does. I think what we know as mayors, we see this very personally. We know the names of individuals who have lost their jobs. We see them in our cities. We know the names of people who have lost their homes. So it's much more personal to mayors. We see it and live with it every single day. And so we're in Washington saying, support the President's plan, get Americans back to work again, make the right investments in infrastructure to rebuild our economy so we can compete in the global economy of the 21st century.
Well, Mayor Plusquellic, Mayor Villaraigosa out in L.A., he had a comment saying that the bickering needed to stop. Do you see this and what we have been watching up in Washington, D.C. as bickering? Do you see this as, I guess, a lot of no Republican support here? What is your problem with the debate you've seen so far, and what problems might you have with this particular bill?
Well, I think you will learn early on as a public official that there's never a perfect plan. I don't care what size community, what the issue is. You can debate, talk, discuss, on and on and on, argue, but there never will be a perfect plan. If we wait for that, tens of thousands, maybe millions of more people will be out of work before we take action. And I think all of us were critical of some of the individuals in the Senate side who hunkered down on one little item or another item, maybe 2 or 3. This bill needs to be passed, and both mayors have explained it. This is an investment in the future, getting people to work immediately, not with just make-work jobs, but with an investment in an infrastructure that, quite frankly, has been delayed too long. We really need it, and we need those jobs now.
Well, on that last point there about jobs, Mayor Franklin, how quickly could you have people working if that bill is passed, it's signed by the president, that money gets to you? How quickly could you have jobs created in the city of Atlanta?
Well, the good news in many cities, including the city of Atlanta, we have shovel-ready jobs, whether they're in water and sewer, whether they're in airport construction, and whether they're in public works. We believe in public works alone, within the first 120 days, we could have 500 people back to work, and over the course of a year, well over 1,000. The same is true in watershed and our water projects and at the airport. So some of our projects, if funded, would allow people to stay on the job because we have construction projects underway, both in watershed and in our water projects and in our airport projects. So if we were to get this funding, we don't have any hesitation in saying that we could put people to work within the time frame, actually quicker than the time frame, within the first 2 to 3 months, and really help to spur this economy locally.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. I want to continue our conversation now with 3 of America's mayors who needed a stimulus package yesterday. Again, Mayor Franklin, Mayor Cicilline, and Mayor Plusquellic. Thank you all again for being with us. Mayor Cicilline, I will come back to you now. How stiff is the competition for this money? Because I believe some 18,000 projects have been submitted on a wish list, if you will, for money from this stimulus package. So you certainly feel like you have to compete against Mayor Franklin, Mayor Plusquellic, and so many others out there?
No, I mean, I think one of the things that the package does, it really identifies areas of investment, whether it's infrastructure to rebuild bridges and roads in our cities, in transit, in renewable energy, in renovation of school buildings. So in each city, there are projects that fit in each of those categories, and it will be the responsibility of the chief executive in those cities to make the case either through an existing funding formula, an existing mechanism, an existing program, or through a competitive process.
Well, I'll ask you actually about one program that got a lot of attention, and you know it did, a project of yours on your wish list about renovations and project at a polar bear exhibit at a zoo. Now,
yes, we have absolutely. We put together a list of examples of priorities of each of our individual cities. Infrastructure work that's ready to go. There are, in the city of Providence, $570 million worth of projects would create 6,600 jobs. One of those is the renovation of the biggest tourist attraction in the state of Rhode Island, the third oldest zoo in America, which was built, by the way, with WPA funds. So it's a great institution. Is that one that will qualify for this plan? Probably not, but that was a list of a whole set of infrastructure projects that are ready to go. We have bridges, roads, our water system, school renovations, all shovel-ready, ready to go, that will put people back to work, and that, importantly, will be making key investments for the long-term economic health and prosperity of our city and state.
On that point, Mayor Plusquellic, he talked about that, and some in Congress had an issue with that. In particular, Tom Coburn of Oklahoma actually offered an amendment that said that money couldn't go towards zoos, I think it's swimming pools, theaters, museums, things like that. Will you have a tough time making your case, whether it's a polar bear exhibit or whatever it may be, tough time making your case, and there be too many restrictions that the federal government telling you what you need to do on a local level?
Well, not necessarily, but let me just point out a couple things. One, the mayors have never asked for a bailout for our balancing our budgets. We're talking about investment in infrastructure, and 99.9% of the items that mayors submitted would be eligible almost by anybody's calculation or anybody's formula. So those few things that some opponents have picked out and held up and screamed and yelled about swimming pools or polar bear really just are almost like a flare out here that they want people to concentrate on. The major concentration should be on the 99.9% of the projects that are really truly needed. Bridges aren't Republican or Democrat bridges. They serve all of us. Water lines, sewer lines, highways. So I think we ought to get back to looking at the 99.9. And let me say this, though. Mayors have made this clear. If Congress wants to eliminate categories of those, that 1/10 of 1%, they don't want us to build swimming pools. I personally am fine with that, and I think most mayors would say fine. Let me also make the argument, though. If you were mayor of New Orleans and you had a swimming pool that served a poor neighborhood where there weren't swimming pools around for kids for 5-10 miles, and you weren't able, because you were handling other important things, to rebuild that swimming pool, you would think that might be a pretty high priority. But we have pretty much backed off on that and said, get us the 99.9%, and you want to eliminate 1/10 of 1%, I'm okay with that.
All right, and Mayor, last round here, I'll try to get to all of you on this question, but Mayor Franklin, I will start with you here. Did you walk out of the White House feeling any better? Did you feel good that something was on the way, and when that something did happen, it would get to you quickly and trickle down? Or do you really not feeling too good about the debate you're seeing in Washington right now, and then even after the debate ends and a bill is passed, that money will get to you sometime soon?
I felt good at the White House. I've felt really good for the last few weeks. I'm really encouraged by how much outreach there's been from President Obama and his administration, and also, frankly, from Speaker Pelosi, who has received us several times in Washington. And now that we've seen that the Senate has voted, I'm feeling good about that. It seems to me that the faster that this is signed by the President after it comes out of conference and then gets back into the hands of the various departments, we can really go to work in getting Americans back to work. And I think Don has described it really well. We're not complaining. We know in Atlanta that we could spend $18 billion on airport and water and sewer and public works, but we don't expect $18 billion. We want to put Americans back to work right here in Atlanta, right here in Georgia.
All right. I will let the lady have the last word there. And I see you just called him Don. You didn't want to struggle with having to say Plusquellic.
Oh, I know his name.
She can call me anything she wants.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see what she calls you when she gets off the air here.